Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating, honestly kind of intense collision of global forces. If we look at the data coming in on July 16, 2026, we are witnessing a massive, historic technological boom. But here's the catch. It's taking place against the backdrop of a heavily divided economy and a physical world that is under severe stress. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, so let's just jump right in. Let's start with a massive number. $265 billion. That's with a B. That is TSMC's total planned American investment, headlined by a giant new commitment out in Arizona. And the key takeaway for us here, it's that artificial intelligence is absolutely no longer just some abstract software trend floating around in the cloud. It has officially triggered a permanent physical industrial revolution. So let's dive into our first topic, the AI industrial boom. What we're seeing is that digital demand is translating straight into physical reality. TSMC just reported a record quarterly profit of approximately $22 billion. And guess what? High-performance computing is driving a full 2/3 of that revenue. But you can't just wish AI into existence with code. This massive expansion requires real-world resources, massive utility grids, physical factories, and highly skilled tradespeople. And actually, those tradespeople are currently in really short supply. So while semiconductor production is becoming much more globally distributed, it's also making us far more deeply interconnected than ever before. Which brings us to part 2, a divided, resilient economy. Right now, we are navigating a surprisingly deep economic divide. On a macro level, the 30,000-foot view, we are seeing incredible resilience. Retail sales are up 0.2%, core retail is up 0.5%, and jobless claims just dropped to a 10-week low of 208,000. Layoffs are severely limited. Sounds great, right? Yet, at the exact same time, everyday households are feeling some serious strain. People are dealing with lower savings, much thinner financial margins, and rising gasoline prices. So it's this fundamentally constructive economy, sure, but it is heavily divided between massive multi-billion-dollar infrastructure spending on one side and increasingly squeezed consumers on the other. Moving along to Section 3, geopolitical and energy friction. Compounding all of these economic threats, our global supply chains are currently being actively stress-tested. Take the Strait of Hormuz, for example. The ongoing conflict between the U.S. and Iran has caused vessel traffic there to fall by roughly half, 50%. Meanwhile, near the Red Sea and Bab el-Mandeb, Houthi forces are preparing for action, which directly threatens vital trade routes heading toward the Suez Canal. And the direct impact of all this? Well, back here in the United States, this global friction translates directly into rising gasoline and diesel costs. And that spreads inflation like wildfire through trucking, agriculture, and pretty much all everyday consumer goods. Okay, on to our final major theme, Section 4, physical world stress tests. Here is the really crucial point. Our physical world is actively pushing back. We are seeing extreme inland heat across the Southwest and the plains, soaring near 110 degrees. Over in the Northeast, Canadian wildfire smoke is just heavily reducing air quality. This creates massive overlapping public health concerns for vulnerable populations. But structurally, this extreme heat means power demand is completely spiking. And this is happening at the exact moment those massive new AI data centers we talked about earlier are creating a permanent 24/7 drain on electricity, pushing us way beyond normal seasonal peaks. Basically, our electrical grids are getting squeezed from both ends. To see how all these abstract systems physically collide in real time, look no further than this Sunday's World Cup final between Argentina and Spain over in New Jersey. You've got 80,000 expected spectators inside the stadium, plus tens of thousands more gathering outside. This is a massive, massive logistical test of our local infrastructure. It's forcing authorities to manage extreme heat, potential incoming storms, that wildfire smoke we just mentioned, and incredibly intense transportation pressure, all at the exact same time. It's a perfect storm of systemic stress. Which leaves us with this final overarching thought to consider today. When you look at the hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into AI, and you weigh that against the undeniable strain on our electrical grids, our global trade routes, and our very environment, you really have to ask, can our rapid technological acceleration outpace the growing vulnerabilities in our physical and geopolitical infrastructure? Honestly, it is the defining balancing act of our time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the tough questions, and I'll see you next time.